Is your organization fully compliant with all data collection, storage, and sharing rules? Most likely not, but you are probably in good company. Whether you are a startup operating in the fields of autonomous driving, mobility as a service, or shared transportation, whether you are a service provider in these areas, or whether you are working for a government or municipality, you are part of the smart transportation revolution of our era. Unleashing the full potential of autonomous and shared transportation requires collection and sharing of enormous amounts of information among the various players on the playing field. Therefore, as a player in the field of smart transportation, you are also, whether you like it or not, directly affected by another coinciding revolution, the introduction of modern, complex and sophisticated privacy and data protection regimes. Privacy and data protection regulations are no joke. GDPR, CCPA, and other similar laws impose serious penalties on non-compliant parties. You should get sound legal advice from a lawyer in your relevant jurisdiction. Now, after ticking our disclaimer checkbox, here are a few points to consider and to get you started. First of all, are you collecting or sharing personal information or identifiable information? Identifiable information is information that relatively easily enables identifying an individual and provides insights into such individuals' preferences and behavior. If the answer to this question is yes, then data and privacy most surely apply to the information you collect and share, which is why it is important for you to become familiar with the two basic principles of data privacy protection regulation: limitation and minimization. These principles require that data be collected for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes, which are adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary in relation to the purposes for which they are processed. The basic recommendation is therefore collect and share only the minimal data that is required for the service provided. Where possible, information should be provided through aggregated and anonymized data. An e-scooter company, for example, must collect information limited to that required for it to operate its service. A user's age and the whereabouts of the scooter seem like relevant pieces of information. A user's taste in music, probably not. If sharing information with third parties is required, such information should be aggregated and anonymized. If our e-scooter company is required to share information with the municipality in which it operates for traffic analysis or statistical studies, such information should be aggregated and anonymized. Sometimes, aggregation and anonymization do not serve the purpose of sharing the information. For example, if a rider on an e-scooter commits a traffic violation or injures a pedestrian, the e-scooter company may be under obligation to provide the rider's personal identifiable information. In such cases, it is important to make sure that there is a sound legal basis for the sharing of such information. In general, it is best to obtain the individual user's consent to the collection and sharing of data. Users should be clearly informed on what personal data is collected and shared and for what purposes. Having in place comprehensive licensing agreements and data protection agreements known as DPAs with the parties with whom you share information is also a must. These agreements define how third parties must protect and may use the information shared with them, and allocate responsibility, liability, and risk relating to data collection and sharing among the parties involved. Complete anonymization of mobility data is most likely not suitable or feasible, possibly leading to the introduction of specific mobility-related regulation. These regulations will need to address the need to share information on grand scales, which is a basic underlying requirement for a streamlined, efficient, and holistic transportation environment. My final recommendation to you would be to constantly be on the lookout and be actively involved in the discussion around such new regulation.